92.3 Amp Radio. I am here with the guys of Peking Duck.
Oh,
what's up?
What's up?
You gotta tell me first. Where does the name come from? Because I know, like in Philadelphia and New York, we have all these restaurants that are named after you guys, or you're named after the restaurants. So what's the deal?
The real thing is, it's got nothing to do with the actual food itself. It's quite a funny story. When we were young, about 17 years old, 18 years old, we were indulging in a lot of partying. We still enjoy
drinking
partying.
a lot of beers and
the kind of beers that, you know, after you've had a few too many, you start to sort of.
You know, it's not when you're like peaking with energy. It's actually before that moment where you're peaking so hard that you actually start doing a duck face and you're sitting in the corner for a bit. Just
For all the listeners right now, Ruben's scrunching up his face like a duck. So when you're peaking, you look like a duck, and it became a little bit of slang amongst our friends. And
but it was like when you were peaking duck was when you're in that moment.
yeah, so then we just sort of started saying it just as a bit of a gag, and then we wrote some music together, and we're like, shit, we need a name.
Yeah.
And then at the time we were peaking, and we looked like ducks, and it was like Peking Duck.
Yeah.
It was never like ride or die with the name.
We thought we were going to change our name for the second song, and we just couldn't be bothered.
It just caught on.
We're just lazy boys.
Was there any like runner-up names, or no? That was it.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I guess.
It really wasn't. In hindsight, probably a bit of thought could have helped. But
Dillipper Fudd, maybe Homeboy Wheels.
Dude.
Wheels. With
Just
a Z.
Wheels.
Just
with
wheels.
a Z, yeah.
Good. Yeah.
That's really twisted.
Yeah,
I like that.
Before you guys became huge, great celebrities, amazing, touring all over the world, known for your music and stuff, what was like your last crappy job before you got into music full time?
We both worked full time as baristas, making a bit of the coffee for the workforce.
Okay, I was doing my research, right, and I knew you did something along those lines, but then I also heard about another story where you would just get smashed at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes,
drunk
that is true, yeah.
Those were the me and Ruben and a bunch of
And
our
then
friends.
about
actually.
3 more of our friends, we all decided to start working at McDonald's together on the same day.
Always a good idea.
And,
Great idea. Great idea. That's some real life advice for anyone.
One of the
listening.
supervisors.
Looking for a job? Get into Macca's.
It was so fun. One of the supervisors would walk around with a Fanta full of vodka. And so we just...
Pretty dark stuff in hindsight, because he was old. He was very old. We were pretty young. So I don't know what his intentions were.
A weird way of life. And we were so obsessed with going to work because it was just fun. There was nothing not fun about it.
Let's just say the burgers were extra saucy when we were working.
Let's just say you wouldn't want to order extra pickles on the day that we were working.
Right, because
get
that
100.
meant something horrible, yeah.
Just 100.
We're more givers. You know?
Yeah, we just give.
Great, very good. So, did your antics carry over into being a barista? Were you drunk all the time
No,
there?
see, the thing about that job is you got to get up at the crack of dawn. In Canberra, our hometown, it gets very cold, so it'd be shit, man. It sucked. Like you wake up, you'd have to scrape the ice off your windshield.
Yeah.
We both had old bomb cars that would shut,
terrible.
like they would.
Have to sort of start the car, then go back inside for 10 minutes, and then get in the car.
Yeah. So we
and
both
there's no
did
subway in Canberra. No metro.
that. Yeah. So yeah, that was like, it was good though. I think you learn a lot doing a job like that. You know, you get to, I think you learn a lot about people because every single person you're serving is a different person.
And you sort of learn to appreciate the company of people, which a lot of artists, they sort of go from the bedroom to the main stage in front of heaps of people, and they sort of seclude themselves a bit more in that way, but they don't want to hang out with the promoter. They don't want to, and so it's been, you know, a lot of fun for us because we love people.
We like to be little social butterflies. But no, it's cool. I mean, you meet interesting people and you really get to know them because they're coming in every day, and you sort of like, you build a rapport with them, and then before you know it, you're having drinks with them after work or whatever, and it's cool. You meet a lot of different people doing that, and then we decided to, well, Ruben was like, dude, let's just go to Sydney. I mean, because flights out of Canberra, we started sort of playing here and there, and we went to Sydney, we had no money, but we didn't take up a job. We just sort of were like, all right, let's do this with the music. And thankfully, Triple J, radio station in Australia, started spinning one of our songs. And
pretty much we were getting in fights over tater tots. Like, it was heavy.
Yeah.
It was sad, and Twinkies.
And then, and then it's just sort of, it started snowballing a bit. And thank God for that, because, I guess then we started getting a tiny bit of cash, and we kept working on music, and now we're lucky enough to say that that's our job, I guess. But it definitely never feels like a job. So very blessed. Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag blessed. I know one of the turning points for you guys, you're probably sick of talking about it, but the Passion Pit remix, you know, that really caught fire. That was great. And then I personally also love the Fits in the Tantrums one.
Sick.
Do you know when you do these remixes, do any of the bands end up hearing it? Do you know?
Yeah.
It's pretty funny about Passion.
The Passion Pit one, we actually did a bootleg, like totally didn't ask if we could remix it, and
we just pulled the master song,
and put it in, and pretty much EQ'd out the rest of the track.
Right?
Oh, completely
totally
legit.
legal.
Yeah.
Talk to them beforehand on Skype. Go way back with those guys. Shout out the Passion Pits.
But because it gained so much,
they had no idea.
Internet traction, we thought they were going to pull it down, and it turns out they mustn't have hated it.
So they were actually cool.
It's a funny, it's an unspoken thing because they did a remix package that they officially released, and there were other remixes of that song online that they got pulled for copyright. So their label must have put it, but ours didn't get pulled.
Wow.
So maybe they were like, you know what, it's kind of cool.
Wait, so then did they include your remix on their CD?
No, never.
Oh,
okay. It was like a bootleg thing.
Stayed bootleg.
Yeah.
Oh, because I was going to say maybe they just put it on their album too and then don't give you any money for it. So it's like, hey, you know what?
Dope, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I would have said, you know what, that's fair.
Yeah, but shout out Passion Pit. They make dope music.
They're
and
so good.
Thanks for not pulling our music, guys.
Yeah, legends. And it was cool, that remix set a tone for a sound that we sort of still, add parts of today.
Set the mood.
Yeah. Which I wanted to ask you guys, did you guys always expect to be in this genre of music, or were you like at one point you wanted to go the rock route? I think one of you guys was rapping at some point.
Yeah.
So how did you get here?
So it started out, I guess, Peking Duck, the project. What we were trying to do was just emulate really trashy electro, or like fidgety electro, like Crookers, Bloody Beetroots, Fake Blood, all that old sort of stuff. And we really did just try to emulate it and try to get as close to that sound as we could. Yeah. And once we did kind of get close to that sound, we realized that we sort of had a bit more knowledge with production, so we could actually implement some more skills into our music making on a laptop, like incorporating elements from rock or hip hop.
Right.
And then that evolved, I guess, from the Passion Pit remix onwards. We really did start incorporating more influences like rock and even hip hop,
and then
with
like
the drum
remixing that Ben Howard song. It was just like an acoustic guitar, and then lots of hip hop like influence on everything we do now.
Yeah. So I guess we just sort of evolved in a way to sort of. I guess we learned that we can sort of do what we want, so we didn't box ourselves in with just doing that electro stuff, which is a good thing. I think it's great. I think any producer out there, any musician should do the same thing. Never put yourself in one box. Try it all out, and whatever feels good, roll with it. Because when it feels good, it feels good.
When it feels good, it is good.
Yeah.
That could be a new tattoo. Next tattoo.
Yeah.
When it feels good, it feels good. And I know
That's
where you guys
motto.
could put that. Yeah. So you guys have been, things are taking off. You get new career highlights pretty much every month now. You've had a chance to really tour the world and stuff. What as of late has been a place you've went to that you really enjoyed? Maybe got to be a tourist a little bit and venture out.
Stockholm.
I guess Stockholm or India.
India, Stockholm, and London. Mainly Stockholm, I'd say.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. We had parties every night, and there was only 2 hours of night each day. This was back in June or July, and so it would only be dark for barely even an hour.
And it wasn't even dark when it was that.
Yeah, the sun never fully set.
Right. So it was a brand new thing we'd never experienced.
It was all these like parties out in like the woods and all this stuff going on, like warehouse parties and
we were working on music for the album. And some of the music we wrote over there was some of our best stuff.
The best stuff,
that'll be coming out soon. But just the vibe over there, it's very different to Australia. It's very different to anywhere else in the world. The people are so beautiful and so friendly, and it's incredible. And the way that it's so clean.
It's hard to not be so happy when you're there.
Yeah.
Highly recommend Sweden. Shout out to Stocktown.
And the juices were just flowing. You were like, oh my God, all this creative, I'm in this creative space, and that's...
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we were hungover every day in the studio, but I think that sort of helped with the flow of it all, because it was like...
Yeah.
We had a little
Weirdly
system.
It did.
Yeah, it worked, and it was incredible. We love that place. It's great.
Is that how you guys are? Like, when it hits you, or are you like, okay, on this day from 3 to 7 p.m., I'm going to be in the studio, I have to write a song, produce a song?
It's a bit of both, man. Like sometimes, sorry to interrupt, but yeah, sometimes it's like, you could be on an aeroplane or just chilling, and you start messing around with the beat.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, it's your favorite beat you've ever worked on. Or you can have a studio session scheduled. You go in, you got no real idea of what you're gonna do. Then you bang it out there, and it's the most amazing shit you've done. I mean, it changes
Yeah, when you're on your own, like often in Sydney we'll work on ideas separately, but when we go to Sweden or something, we'll get in the studio together with a vocalist, and it'll be sort of all these planned sessions. And when you've got something like you have to make it to, you do it if you're hungover, you do it if you haven't slept, and you rock up, and sometimes the magic just genuinely happens.
Yeah, because I think if you are hungover and you don't have, or tired or whatever, it doesn't have to be hungover.
But it's not like a locked-in commitment.
Yeah,
Right.
So you'd rather, you know, play video games or just chill and watch a movie rather than actually work on music. But yeah, if it's locked in, it's not like having a deadline. Like we used to do remixes with deadlines, obviously. Every remix has a deadline, but it'd really help us push through and finish it. Otherwise, I don't think we would finish it and get the amazing product that we will get in the end if it wasn't.
And it makes you more cutthroat on, you know, scrapping the, if it isn't great, it's clutter.
There you go.
This is
That's
the
another
studio
tattoo.
motto.
Another tattoo. Shout out Amp.
Where, like, it's so easy to get caught up on some ideas if there is no deadline, and you just be like, oh, maybe we can make this.
Yeah, I think it's good to just be like, no, screw that.
The best stuff happens when you really don't want to mess around.
Right, right. You guys have to be honest with me here. You brought up vocalists. Have you ever hired a vocalist to be on a song just so you could sleep with her?
That is so good.
We were actually talking about this the other day. We've actually never ever paid for a feature vocalist.
No, we've never paid for a feature.
Ever.
Really?
So, yeah,
That's
to this
great.
day. Yeah, we're friends with every vocalist.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say if I've had any romantic encounters with any of them because that would just be defamation of character. What I will say is, there's a...
Moving on. The last question before we wrap up. I saved your ass on that one. You guys owe me.
You did throw him under the bus, but now it is water under the fridge.
Water under the fridge.
We can let it be.
Before we wrap up, give me the career highlight, the pinch yourself moment up to this point where you've been like, wow, this is amazing.
I'll tell you a funny one that happened in New York. We played at Webster Hall maybe like a year and a half ago now, maybe a little bit longer. And Bloody Beetroots is obviously, that's the act that sort of got us into what we're doing now.
Yeah, Bob Refo is the reason that we are doing what we're doing.
Yeah, so we did a show supporting him at Webster Hall, and it was the sickest show we've done in New York, hands down. I think even on the East Coast of Northern America.
Yeah, definitely.
The crowd was sick, the whole vibe was just perfect. And then Bob came on after us, and we sort of went past him in the sort of, I don't know, like backstage area, and he's like, oh yeah, you know, like, he showed us love. And I think we'd met him briefly once before, but never really talked. And he's like, come out on stage. So before he started his set, he came out on stage and brought me and Ruben out. No. And he was like, I don't know if I can swear on this show, but he screamed at the top of his lungs to the whole crowd to like give us a round of applause. He told the crowd how much he loves us and how much they should love us and all this shit.
It was crazy.
And that moment was just like, what, did that just happen?
Right.
Because that's like one of our idols bigging us up on his stage, and that was like a proper pat on the back that felt like a golden pat on the back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, shout out Bob Refo for that. That was a good moment.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We've been in some weird situations though where it's just like, whoa. But I think the best moments are in the studio when you really hit that sweet spot with a song and you go, oof, that feels good.
You feel like Superman for a bit. You're like, what just happened?
And you're like, man, the world's about to hear this. I can't wait because you feel like you're a part of something that nobody really does know about it yet. You're like, whoa, we have this big secret.
It's this little thing that's so close to you, and you're like, like no one else has heard it, and then when you get to share that, it's a beautiful feeling. Definitely.
Right. Good. Peking Duck, thank you guys so much. It's been a pleasure. I am a big fan, and keep continuing to kick ass.
Thank you for having us on the show.
Thank you. Big love.